Welcome back! First, let me start by saying hi! Welcome to 2018! Happy New Year! I hope your holidays were absolutely incredible. I hope you enjoyed the videos at the end of 2017. It was so incredible coming out with daily content, and oh my god, what a challenge, but I hope you enjoyed it. Secondly, I would love to know what you guys think of the new background. It's not quite done yet, but it's almost there. But enough of that, I want to talk to you guys about something that I have noticed a lot, and I really hope that you're with me on this one. I've been noticing more and more lately that we, as humans, are messed up. I'm totally serious here. I can't think of another species that would deliberately put themselves through as much torture as we do. Seriously, think about it. When we get piercings, we're literally impaling small parts of our body so that we can hang decorations from the holes. When we get a tattoo, we're sitting there with needles jabbing into our flesh over and over, dumping tons of foreign bodies into our skin, permanently altering our appearance. And then there's the most torturous thing that we put ourselves through. First dates. Now, I know that sounds dramatic, but seriously, your date, the person you're sitting across from right now, could have an axe in their car. They could have a bunch of hitchhikers buried in their basement. They could even spit when they talk. First piercings, first tattoos, first dates, they all kind of feel like a rite of passage, and they all suck. Actually, getting your first piercing doesn't hurt that bad. And getting your first tattoo is actually kind of liberating. Huh. I guess it's just first dates that suck. Look, I'm a huge fan of romance, but we need to have a talk about things that you can absolutely expect to happen on every single first date you will ever go on. Now, if you haven't gone on a first date yet, grab a pencil, get ready to make some notes. Everybody else, let's go for a trip down memory lane, shall we? Here are some unfortunate truths about first dates. Let's start off with the biggest truth, which, ironically, is lying.
Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies.
Wow, first video of the year and I'm already singing. Good start. See, a first date is kind of like a job interview, and like a job interview, you should show up with a resume. A resume that you've probably embellished a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit. We kidding. You're gonna bend the truth like you're an acrobatic performer at Cirque du Soleil. You have a Tinder profile that says that you work in journalism, but really what that means is you have a part-time job delivering newspapers. And remember how you worked out that one time back in August? Yeah, that means you're clearly a fitness buff and you work out 6 times a week, and according to Grindr, your tribe is jock lies. So you've baited your hook and you start reeling in your catches from Plenty of Fish, and now here comes the tricky part. Trying to remember what lies you told so that you don't go from being a neurosurgeon to a lawyer in the same conversation while you're having dinner with someone who thought you were a firefighter when you're actually just someone who likes to melt plastic spoons in your parents' basement because the fumes get you a little bit high. Now tell me if you've ever had to deal with this. Have you ever been on a date with someone who you felt like you needed to Google the instant you get home? I didn't know somebody won the Nobel Peace Prize for being able to stick both fists in their mouth. Let me just take a second and look that up. Lies everywhere. Lord of the Lies. Harry Potter. Gorillas in the Myth. Gorillas in the Myth. What a mess. Let's not forget about number 2. The bill. What was that? When I first moved out, I was terrible with money. Like, I was bad. It took me years to learn how to really budget for things like an electric bill or food or college, which I didn't go to because I spent all that money on dates. Okay, this is an absolutely true story that I don't even think I've told my own husband, so gather around, get comfy. When I was like 18 or 19, I went on a first date with a guy and I had definitely not mastered the whole budget my life thing. Before that date was over, I maxed out a brand new credit card. Maxed it out in one date. I haven't even seen that guy in like 9 years. I could have been a marine biologist or a cardiothoracic surgeon, but no, I had to have the lobster. Trust me on this, learn to budget. You'll probably need a cushion. Number 3, exceptional conversation. Hopefully you know what the acceptable first date topics are, but in case you don't, they are: what do you do for a living? Do you have any brothers and sisters? And are you one of those people who believes that the earth is flat? Because if you are, I'm gonna go. Stick to those topics like a squirrel to nuts and you'll be fine. Nuts. I have actually been on a first date where the other guy just kept talking about his ex-boyfriends, and there were a lot, and about how crazy they all were, and about how if I ended up anything like them, I'd be screwed. We're on our first date, and you're threatening me? Boy, bye. And just a little hint, if you're ever on a first date with someone who says that everyone they've ever dated before was crazy, they're telling you a few things. They're telling you that they're actually the one that's crazy, and that they're also wicked judgmental, that they put out a negative energy that just attracts the wrong people, and they just told you that everyone they go on a date with is crazy. You're on a date with them. you would be proving them right if you went on a second date with them. The only people that get to call me crazy are the voices in my head.
God, you're so crazy.
You're so ridiculous.
I can't believe how crazy you are.
So pretty. No one wants to hear about your exes. Even if someone asks, just say, things didn't work out, and then move on. Or pretend you're a duck. Either one is fine. Number 4, mind your manners. I am a firm believer that first dates should be a category at the Oscars because they are just filled with award-winning performances. Ladies and gentlemen, the nominees for the best first date are the homicidal guy who made it through dinner without using his steak knife as a weapon. That guy who made it through coffee without eating a scab. The wackadoodle who made it through dinner and a movie without saying wackadoodle. And that guy who just always seems to need to be naked. Ladies and gentlemen, this is so exciting, and the award goes to the person who didn't agree to go on a second date with any of these people. The first date is always all about pulling out chairs and opening doors and chewing with your mouth closed. Manners like you're on a date with Prince Harry, which, married or not, can we all just join together and talk about how jealous we all are of Meghan Markle? And then the second date starts and it's basically a high school science class all about digestion and how saliva can help break down food with the way that your date is gnawing on their food like a starved dog from a third world country. But that's second dates, and a different story for a different video. Speaking of stories, do you have a first date horror story? Let me know down in the comments section below. Look, dating sucks, especially first dates, but now you have some tips to either help you get through it or know when to call a cab and get your butt out of there. You're welcome. Hey, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up before you go. If you're new here, click over there to subscribe to the channel. I make new videos every Sunday. I'd love for you to be here. I have more episodes right down there, on my social media in the corner over there, and make sure you hit that bell so you get a notification every time I post. See you next Sunday.